Welcome to the Scam Economy with your host, Matt Binder.
In this world, nothing is certain but death, taxes, and tech executives and VCs believing their own hype, and the media lapping it all up. Welcome to Scam Economy, everyone. I am your host, Matt Binder. And a bit of news that came out over the past week had me sort of taking a trip down memory lane. You see, Google and Coinbase announced a partnership where Google would start accepting cryptocurrency from its Google Cloud clients, and Coinbase would provide the platform to make such payments possible. And of course, the more realistic look here would be that Google is just looking at whatever ways possible to continue to accept payments and get paid by their clients, and these Web3 projects and crypto companies want to pay with crypto, so they want to give us money. Why not let them in any way, shape, or form? But of course, for the crypto advocate, Google, the global search conglomerate, is basically tipping their hat to crypto, thus ushering in a legitimacy that clearly means cryptocurrency is the future, baby. Well, I want those same people to recall just a couple of weeks ago, Google announced it was closing shop over at its cloud gaming platform, Stadia. I would also like to remind them of Google's social networking platform, Google+, Google's, I don't even remember what this was, Google Wave. These are Google's own products where they missed the mark. Google isn't exactly a tech Nostradamus here. But one project in specific, as I was researching for this episode, really stuck out to me. And the reason is it was amazing to see some of the same old tech angles, some of the same old tech arguments, and some of the same old tech personalities who were so fervent in their support of crypto pop up here for another roundly rejected tech industry creation, Google Glass. So as sort of a perfect follow-up from last week's episode, we will continue to be talking about the people who pump up this space and how wrong they seem to constantly get things. But before we jump in, patreon.com/MattBinder to support this show with a small monthly subscription payment. You can also go to youtube.com/MattBinder to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to twitch.tv/MattBinder to subscribe to the Twitch channel. Scameconomy.com for all the links to the podcast version of this show. Follow me on Twitter @MattBinder. Follow the show on Twitter @ScamEconomy. Now for that look into the crypto future with a look into our Google Glass past. And joining me now to discuss all of this is Quinn Myers, freelance writer and author of the newly released book, Remember the Internet, Google Glass. Quinn, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Happy to be here.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure to have you back. I was thinking, last time you were on during the summer, you were on to talk about the people who basically were taking their daily paychecks, blue collar, minimum wage workers basically getting paid and immediately converting it to crypto. And then, of course, the people who worked at businesses that offered to pay them straight up in crypto, so they didn't even have to, do that exchange, and how that turned out to be a really bad deal for them. And since then, and everyone should go check out that episode, by the way, if you haven't seen it. It's episode 24 called Payrect. But since then, your book, which we briefly mentioned during that episode, has come out on Google Glass. When did that book get released again?
September 21st.
Oh, so that's just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's fresh.
Yeah, right. And I was talking last week to my guest, Parker Malloy, and we were focusing on sort of, we had a little bit too much fun talking about CNN's failed NFT project because it's ridiculous, and I'm not going to get into that right now. Again, go check out that episode. But one of the reasons I had her on is because she is a great media critic, and one of the glaring reasons why crypto was able to sort of, blow up over these past couple of years, and then in essence, screw over so many people when it shit the bag and failed this past summer, costing some people their life savings. I had to have Parker on to talk about how the media played such an important role in sort of selling it to the mainstream public. And I remember your book was coming out. You had reached out to me recently, and we were talking a little bit, and it just was so obvious to me that I had to have you on, because Google Glass sort of was a foreshadowing of how the media was going to bungle crypto. And I want to make it clear, Google Glass, my opinion on this show, the name of the show is Scam Economy. I believe the entire crypto space is just one big scam. Google Glass obviously was I don't even want to say beta, an alpha product that Google had hoped to put out to provide a service to people. People would buy it and actually use it. So it, not exactly, a scam, but there was a lot of hype behind Google Glass in the same way there was crypto. And the media really helped create this hype.
It's unbelievable the amount of parallels between Google Glass when it came out, its rise to just becoming super popular. That the Time deemed it the one of the inventions of the year. They loved it, and it's kind of just another iteration of tech just kind of pulling the wool over, especially mainstream media, big legacy media companies. Getting them to buy into the hype, not really focusing on the privacy issues or all the issues that came with Glass. And it's interesting just to see the same actors, same VC capital investors are who are pitching Glass as the next big thing are now kind of just jumping on the next crypto train.
Right. Oh, you said actors. Did Matt Damon also do a Google Glass commercial, like he did a Crypto.com
commercial? I would be shocked if he didn't. I would be shocked if he didn't. But right. I not that I know. Prince Philip did, though.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So look for the maybe he'll jump on the crypto next.
Wait, Prince Philip did a Google Glass commercial?
He didn't do a commercial, but he wore them. There was a cavalcade of actors and celebrities wearing Glass to events, because they thought one of the ways they marketed it was if we can make this seem like a luxury item that all the cool people are wearing, then the filthy masses will follow, and it didn't work out that way.
Oh wait, do you mean So I wanted to see a picture. I think you meant Prince Charles, the King.
Charles, yes.
Yes.
Charles,
no, it's
right.
No, because I was for a second I was like, Prince Philip. He was old when he died, but he was also very old when Google Glass was.
Yeah, I have so many old white guys wearing Google Glass in my head. I mix them up.
The King of England now was wearing Google Glass. How did this not take off? I'm looking at this photo of him. How cool he looks.
Yeah.
I will say this is also it's not just the perfect time to have you on to talk about this, because of the scheduling with the previous episode of Scam Economy, where we talked about the media coverage of crypto in a broader sense. But just, I think it was last week, Google and Coinbase announced that they were partnering up, and basically Google chose Coinbase as their service provider for crypto payments for its Google Cloud service. Basically, companies will be able to pay Google via crypto like Bitcoin or Ether or Dogecoin, to basically get Google Cloud services. I'm assuming, my assumption here is this is Google's play, I guess, to try to make sure that they are the cloud service of choice for all of these Web3 companies popping up, and that, obviously they're going to be looking to use crypto to pay, and Google's getting this head start by partnering with Coinbase to actually accept these crypto payments.
When you say Google, what does Google Cloud Services entail? That's like all their apps and stuff, right?
No, Google Cloud is like their version of,
Amazon.
Yeah,
website.
Amazon's AWS, their web services, like, where you pay for server space to basically host your, startup company, whatever, your databases and infrastructure, for your online business.
Great. So Google has pretty much just taken ownership of countless Web3 startups that are just going to get their little fingers in there, just like they did with everything else. So many other products they just buy and want to take ownership of, and then maybe they'll die.
Right, yeah. I mean, it even says here that right off the bat, Google will initially accept. This is from an article from CNBC. By Jordan Novett, who I was friends with back in high school, interestingly enough. And he's now writing for CNBC. Cool. I knew he was a tech reporter. I didn't realize he was with CNBC. Small world. According to Jordan of CNBC, Google Cloud Platform Infrastructure Service will initially accept cryptocurrency payments from a handful of customers in the Web3 world who want to pay with cryptocurrency, thanks to an integration with the Coinbase Commerce Service. Now, CNBC did talk with Google Cloud's VP and General Manager and Head of Platform, but it was interesting that I was looking online and basically all the hubbub about this announcement I was seeing was all from the crypto side of things. Like, this is initially what caused me to email the e-scooter company Lime when Helium was claiming that Helium, the Web3 data network, was claiming that Lime was a customer of theirs, and I wrote that piece over the summer. Excuse me, it wasn't in August; it was in July. That sort of, I guess, started a very bad news cycle for Helium, but that is what made me initially question, like, maybe I should reach out to Lime and see what's going on here, because I just saw Helium boasting that Lime was a customer over and over and over again. And I didn't see anything from Lime's side of things. That's usually weird. Now, in this case, I'm not accusing Coinbase of manufacturing or embellishing a partnership. Clearly, CNBC spoke with someone at Google Cloud. But I was literally looking it up, and it's like, I couldn't see anything on Google's website about, in terms of its company website and in terms of the partnership. Saw very little from that standpoint of even cloud service industry news. It was all Coinbase's end promoting a Google partnership, and then the crypto world sort of boasting they love to sort of just grapple on to any sort of acceptance from really any sort of mainstream or legacy industry, whether it be big tech companies or, interestingly enough, crypto was of course created in a sense to create a new financial system and avoid in really name only, avoid what the old finance big banks created with, the 2008 global financial crisis. But nowadays you see crypto advocates literally throwing little parties every time JP Morgan says they're going to hire a crypto executive. It's incredible.
Yeah, is that so funny? Yeah, it's so funny that that happens. Well, first of all, of course, they're all cheering for it. It just reiterates how big of it's a pyramid scheme, because they're excited because they think this brings it brings more people in, and the more people at the bottom, the richer they get. The other thing is, it's interesting that Web3 was supposed to be like decentralized internet, right? And now they are partnering with Google, the company that centralized Web 2.0. They bought Google, they bought YouTube. Like, this is the most centralized thing on the planet. Right? Shouldn't they be a little wary about handing over the keys?
Right. And here's my thing. Why are they even looking for cloud service space to store internal corporate database infrastructure? Why aren't they putting that shit on a blockchain? You never hear about these companies using this blockchain technology that they're saying is going to change the internet as we know it. You never hear them using this for internal systems. It's always for the public-facing, tokens they're minting, or the public-facing, NFT projects they're hawking. It's always for the consumer-faced stuff, but their internal data not going on the blockchain. Really weird if this technology is so great and revolutionary that you wouldn't use this in the corporate world.
Yeah, it's always so interesting. It's all pointed at getting more people and getting more and more people, getting the masses to buy their crypto and just siphon all their money up.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting too. You mentioned that like you hadn't seen much from Google. Wasn't it just hadn't Google like banned crypto, like any crypto mentions? Like, it was in 2018 they wouldn't let cryptos like advertise, and then I think in 2021 they just lifted the ban, and then a year later they're partnering with Coinbase. They're really changing their tune on crypto here.
Right. No, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, they had banned cryptocurrency products from advertising on the platform in 2001, right? This was 2018. You're right. And then in 2001, as this all goes mainstream, and they are, the crypto space is targeting, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, your non-tech savvy friends, and selling them that get in now because otherwise you're gonna be left behind and miss out on this great opportunity. Instead of basically holding strong and saying we should continue this ban. I mean, wouldn't that make sense? They decide to give in, I guess, to peer pressure and allow accepting these crypto. It looks like they did end certain crypto advertising bans a few months after they instituted it in 2018. So they instituted it in early 2018. They loosened it in late 2018, but then they further loosened it last year.
Interesting. I this is probably pure speculation. I was digging into Google's 2021 10K, their like yearly federal kind of report on like how the company's doing and what their like revenue is. They gained 41% increase in revenue between 2020 and 2021. They made $257.6 billion in revenue, and that's 41% more than the year before. And like 90% of their money comes from advertising, like ads on the Google.
Right.
But they, when you Google, you see ads. God, I would love to know how much money came in from lifting that ban. Right. I don't know. We could probably never know, but
right. That's it. I mean, let me take a quick look. Google crypto ad revenue. Maybe there's some sort of data company out there who is able to speculate. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
between 2018 and 2021, those companies got very wealthy.
Right. I
But they
mean,
bought the
yeah.
Staples Center. They had money to throw around.
Oh well, crypto.com, who's they bought the naming rights. We should
That's
be
right.
clear,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
But crypto.com not doing too good. A lot of these companies got involved with professional sports. Um, Celsius and Voyager, the two failed crypto lending companies, were advertising with like the Dallas Mavericks and an MLB team that I cannot remember at this point. And like there were little Voyager and Celsius logos all over the stadiums. And I remember seeing these little logos all over the stadiums as people are literally melting down online saying they can't withdraw any of their life savings from Celsius and that all their money is gone. I mean, it was incredible to see these games happening with the logo and branding all over the place, literally as these companies were failing and taking everybody, every retail investor down with them.
God.
Right.
It's awful.
Right. So, I think that this is the perfect sort of way now to get into your book and what researched and learned about Google Glass and how it got to that point where it was sort of pushed as like the big future technology, like it's October 2022 right now. And, back when Google Glass was first being introduced, the assumption was that by October 2022, I'm sure, we would all be wearing little Google Glass glasses and doing everything through our little Google Glass. I'd be talking to you right now while at the same time checking the sports scores and looking at the latest, world global news headlines in my little Google Glass lenses. But that's not the case. We are both Google Glassless as we speak right now.
Yeah, that's right. They made a big play into hardware, like just like they're doing with Coinbase. They wanted to. They're desperate to diversify how they make revenue, what the revenue streams are away from ads.
This is the thing though. Not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but I just gotta point this out
Please.
here, and I want you to, obviously you're gonna have something to say about this, I'm sure. I just didn't want to forget. This is the thing that bothers me so much. Like these companies like Google, like say what you will about, there's plenty of criticism to go around, but at its core service or product or whatever you'd like to call it has been immensely beneficial to people and the internet and really just how civilization goes about in modern day. I mean, Google search, for its many cons and criticisms you could level at it, has been a net positive in my estimation, because literally it's provided a wealth of information to anyone anywhere who wants to find out about literally anything. And like, how is that not good enough for you? How much did you say? $145 billion in ad revenue from Google?
257.
250. I'm sorry. That was probably just like a quarter I was dropping there. Yeah, $257 billion in ad revenue based on, Google search ads. I mean, you got a product that helps people. You got it also making tons of money, hand over fist. You think that would be a win-win? And you want to talk about diversification. You mentioned earlier they own YouTube when you were talking about centralization. I mean, YouTube is another lots of criticism to be had. A lot of things they've done wrong. Good, fair criticism. But again, service that's provided net benefits, and also bringing them money hand over fist. They're diversified.
Yeah. It's just be happy. That's good. That's good. You guys are nailing that, kicking it out of the park. Just keep doing what you're good at. But they saw iPhones blew up. They wanted to nudged their way in there. They thought, if we invent AR, augmented reality is the next big thing. It's in all the sci-fi movies. If we are the ones to make augmented reality, we'll replace phones. We'll replace computers. They thought their goal was to just have people have one screen that they looked at, not your phone, not your computer. And to a certain extent, it's a noble idea. It could make things easier. There could be some utility in there, but due to the way they marketed it, they kind of overshot. Like we talked about with the celebrities, they priced it at an exuberant. They priced it at $1,500, and if you won the chance to get it, you still had to pay. You had to fly out to New York or LA or San Francisco and pay $1,500 to get it. And then, at that point, speaking of Google being like a net good for the world, Google had a much better reputation at that time. They
Well, I want to say I didn't say
made search.
I didn't necessarily say a net good. I said that search product had
okay,
a net.
That's right. That's right. And search was all they did too at that time. Like, to be sure, like pretty much they only did search. They were trying to do Google Plus. Another failed attempt at their social media. But pretty much primarily search.
They have Gmail. I mean, I guess that feeds into just the contextual advertising, which is their revenue model for Google search as well. So maybe they didn't look at that as diversifying enough. But I mean, again, yeah.
And so that, when Google when Glass came out, that the Prism story broke with the where it was revealed that a lot of these tech companies maybe had a backdoor to the government, siphoning out people's data, and that freaked everyone out, rightly so. And then everyone became much more skeptical about how much of their user data they're handing over to Google, how much Google was collecting. And then all of a sudden, Google at the same time is saying, hey, like, strap this camera to your face and record everything you see and say throughout the day. It'll be great. Just this little data siphon to your face. And you can trust us with the data. People didn't like that much, and there was enough pushback from consumers to overwhelm the positivity that a lot of media and a lot of obviously people in tech were trying to push it to make it happen.
Right, let's talk about that a little bit too. By the way, did Google Glass come out before they released their own phone? Like, I know Google Pixel phone came out. Was it?
They had just bought Samsung, but I don't think they had come out with a Pixel yet.
Okay. Weird to go with the Google Glasses first, if that's the timeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I agree that the idea of being able to interact with, these online services sort of in the real world does seem like something that is interesting and could possibly work. I do think that, like, AR, augmented reality, is surely a more viable path to go than full-blown virtual reality, VR. And we'll get into Facebook and the Metaverse in a little bit too. Because I think this is the thing, like, and this works obviously with crypto. A lot of tech tries to sort of bring the real world into the tech space. Like, they want people to live online. Like, they think people don't want to go out to clubs and concerts, or even like, the local bar or cafe to hang out with their friends. They want to do it online in a virtual reality world, and they don't want to use real money. They want to, or credit cards to make purchases. It's so much easier if they're already home in their little meta world. They could just be using cryptocurrency, digital money, and but to me, if you look at all the big tech products and services that have been so successful, it's tech products or services that did the opposite. They integrated it into the real world instead of bringing the real world into the tech product. I mean, the iPhone is a great example. This is a great device or literally any smartphone, if you're an Android person or whatever, Google there. Good job on that one, Google, I guess. But like, what do people enjoy about these smartphones? That they are able to whip out their camera because it's in their phone and take pictures and video without having to carry a specific camera device with them. And they're able to share and, save these memories that they're having in the real world, these experiences that they're still really physically experiencing. We're talking, GPS, being able to get directions, because again, you're bringing the tech product into the real world. The service is helping people get somewhere physically in real life. You could probably think of a numerous products that do that, and I think those are the products that end up being the successes. And I do think that's where like augmented reality probably makes more sense than VR. So, Google Glass was certainly right to go that route. But it was the idea that people would always want to be connected. And that to me is a little bit, and not always connected, because, we have our phones in our pocket, but always have it visible to us. And the media really, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I before we get to the media, I would add that, like, yeah, exactly. Like with a phone, you can put it away. I think people like that. I think they like to be on Twitter and put it away. They like, you can only doom scroll so much before you have to just put it away. And I can like walk outside and be like, oh, I'm not bombarded by ads right now. But it makes sense that they want people to go to digital clubs instead of the actual club. They want you to like walk around the Roblox forest instead of, well, not Roblox maybe, but like just like a, VR forest, because Google denied it as much as they could. But part of their plans were to, when you're driving, track your eyes and count how many billboards you're looking at and know which ones you're looking at. And that's just like the final divide between, I swear to God, I always try to like couch this, like I'm not a like dystopian nightmare tech Luddite, but like the final divide is just us being able to like put our screens away and like walk away. Whereas like with AR or VR, they can, there's going to be, everything is going to be tracked, or just how long did you focus on that ficus in the forest? Like, let's show you some ficuses that are for sale, or, because that's what they're good at, the data and selling it and getting you to buy more, buy.
Right.
And that's just kind of like, it just makes sense that is why they're pushing so hard for this.
Right. And in another sense, when I was looking over, the book, it also sort of connected to me that like, crypto is the same way. Like you heard all these stories about relationships falling apart because people who invested in crypto were obsessed with checking their portfolio 24/7, because unlike the stock market, which cuts off at a certain time, Monday through Friday, takes the weekends and holidays off, crypto does no such thing. It's 24/7. If you are invested in crypto and you are worried about the market, the current market that we're in, where it's dropping and you gotta be quick to sell before you dip below, I guess, what your sell point is, you gotta be checking that all the time. Crypto could crash when it's 4 a.m. your time, and the Asian markets are running wild or something.
Yeah, and just another, like, the parallels are wild, but just another way these two things, you know, are the same is those people who are bought into crypto, like the diehard crypto evangelists. It's like, as more people criticize them and say like, hey, this is bad. Like, this is, you're getting taken advantage of. The same way, like, people who bought into Google Glass, eventually called the glass holes, uh, they dug their heels in and they were just like, no, you're wrong. This is the next thing. Like, fuck you. And like, we don't care how much you say or what you say, or if you kick us out of restaurants, like, we are going to dig our heels in and circle the wagons and like, be right. It's just very, group hive mind kind of thinking that just happens with that.
Right. Right. That's a really great point. Let's talk about some of those people actually right now. The media, much like we spoke on this show with Parker Malloy last week, and like we're going to talk about right now, the media really bought into the Google Glass hype in the same way they bought into the crypto hype. They let these big tech names sell them on the idea that, hey, we created the last big thing, or, we invested in the last big thing. We were the VC, firm behind the last big thing. You got to trust us. This is the next big thing. And instead of being, at least cautiously skeptical about that and cover it, stories about, Google Glass, sort of more neutrally, a lot of these news outlets, media outlets bought into the hype.
Oh yeah, just massively bought into the hype. There were a few leaks first that like Google's working on this, and then everyone got excited. Just rode the wave of hype without second guessing. Like, oh, like what could this mean? What are the downsides of this? Just full on. What can Glass do? What are the possibilities? When's it coming out? Just totally bought in. Especially to an extent, like legacy media, like New York Times, they were all in. They got Google gave them the scoop. So of course they kind of like warmed up to it and had all the info that was coming out, so they would be the ones to break the stories. And didn't really criticize it until it got to a point where everyone was criticizing it, and they didn't really have a choice, but not to be like, okay, maybe the privacy issues are big, or the camera makes people uncomfortable. Like, we have to kind of acknowledge that.
Right. That was the turn. Like, that was part of the turning point when enough of these techies forked out the $1,500. You said.
Yeah. Yep. $1,500.
Forked out and it was for like an alpha product too. Like, we're not even talking like.
It was, yeah. It barely worked. Barely worked. Like, the battery would get hot. Like, it couldn't record.
On your face? Oh my God. I don't know if I'd want to, lose an eye because of an exploding device. Not saying that happened, but that's in retrospect. It didn't happen. Who knew at the time? I wouldn't put a hot battery by my face. Once enough of these techies bought it and started wearing these out in public, the general population, the general public was like, what is this? And they would find out, that they're constantly being recorded just by being in the vicinity of someone wearing Google Glass. And they didn't like the intrusion on what is their space by this product, or whatever you want to call Google Glass, as an alpha thing. But again, very reminiscent of crypto, where it took enough people to sort of say, it took enough people to be introduced to it by force. They didn't go out looking for crypto. Like, I think the game industry is the perfect example here. Gamers didn't go looking for NFTs. It was thrusted upon them, and they were like, no, we do not want this. We already have enough with like the downloadable content, the DLC stuff that we got to pay for. Now you want to bring an asset like a volatile asset to the space, to our gaming world, and have people be able to, like very rich people be able to only own certain things and then treat it like something to flip, like to make money off of. No, we don't want this. And gamers really pushed back against NFTs hard, and a lot of gaming companies have to come out. Minecraft, for example, was a recent one, came out and said, like, don't worry, we are not introducing NFTs into our platform. It took the same sort of blowback from people sort of being thrust upon Google Glass by basically being, recorded against their will.
Yeah, and it's worth like the similar kind of holdouts between NFTs and crypto in Silicon Valley. Like I just remembered one of my favorite headlines from the time that Google Glass, people were like, only rich assholes get Google Glass. This is dumb. People are still reeling from the financial crisis. Like, this is, and it kind of lined up with a lot of things that were kind of the bottom falling out on the economy. And a quote Silicon Valley pioneer took to the Wall Street Journal with a title "Progressive Crystal Not Coming," referencing the Night of Broken Glass by the Nazis, where they 91 deaths and 30,000 jailed in concentration camps during World War II. He basically compared Nazi Germany to people hating Google Glass and rich people and wanting to cancel it. And it's eerie to see the same kind of echoes of like people bringing up or defending crypto, saying like, oh, this is like, people are just trying to like cancel it, this isn't right, like crypto's the next big thing, like you're being like purposely like downplaying what crypto can be when
who was that?
This was billionaire Tom Perkins of Kleiner Perkins, Caulfield and Byers.
Okay, I believe I'm looking him up now. Okay, he died in 2016. So I guess we don't know how he would how he would have. I'm trying to see. Did he have any feelings on crypto before he passed away? 2016 is a weird time period because it was right before the first sort of mainstream crypto boom in 2017. So I guess we'll just never know. But amazing that
Founder of Kleiner Perkins.
Progressive crypto crystal knot. I said crypto knot for a second because I've got crypto brain. Wow. I mean, it's
so it looks like his venture capital firm has gone in on crypto.
Yeah, no surprise.
So, there you go.
No surprise. Wow. Yeah. Let me quickly just let's see what they got going. You want to run? You got something in front of you? About mapping out Kleiner Perkins crypto portfolio. This is from the Block Research. It's behind a paywall.
Okay, here we go. According to top venture capitalists Kleiner Perkins, Caulfield and Byers, blockchain technology could soon enjoy tremendous success. This well-established VC in the U.S. has been funding technologies in the IT industry and biotechnology since 1972. Let's see.
I'm looking
Looks
right
like they
now.
put maybe $4 million.
I'm looking at random. We got they funded a blockchain payment startup called Align Commerce. They are behind a funding round for crypto company Rain Financial. What else we got here? according to the top venture cap, this is from News BTC. According to the top venture, and this is a crypto site. According to top venture capitalist firm Kleiner Perkins, blockchain technology could soon enjoy tremendous success. This was 7 years ago.
Oh,
I mean,
hey,
I guess
see,
I mean
right on it.
it's up 7 years ago. Sure, okay, right. I mean, yeah, these guys. I'd have to do more research into how deep they are into crypto companies, because it's unclear. But not a surprise that they're in crypto at all. Yeah, but I guess this will be the next progressive crystal knot, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we've talked about Marc Andreessen, who was huge Google Glass investor, like one of the main ones. They started their own investment company purely to work on like glass software, and now he is a huge proponent of Ethereum, touting
Right.
it, defending it on Twitter
We talked about him.
virulently.
We talked about him for like a split minute last time you were on the show, because you reminded me about how he was big into Google Glass then, and I totally forgot like his photo of his oddly egg-shaped head wearing the Google Glass, eyewear, was like one of the infamous photos from that time period of like the Google Glass user.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Very egg shaped, very egg shaped, like oddly egg shaped. Like you heard eggheads. His head is like very egg shaped. But yeah, there was one of the main sparks of like the memes against Google Glass was the Tumblr that started called White Men Wearing Google Glass, and the head photo, the main photo was Andreessen and Horowitz and his venture capitalists all proudly wearing glass, and just they were the face of it, and it was all just like rich tech bros who bought into glass, and just not a great group to sort of tout your new technology that you want everybody to buy into.
Right. I mean, he's Andreessen Horowitz has been behind quite a few of the biggest funding rounds for, I don't even know how many crypto companies.
Oh yeah.
They poured money into like Axie Infinity, which one of the earliest episodes of Scam Economy was about how this NFT game got hacked and people couldn't get their money out, and there are a number of people in the Philippines who did play that game as like a full-time job, and that was like their income and their living, and like they basically just blocked them from taking out their funds because they got hacked, and people's lives again were ruined. And Axie Infinity never recovered from that. I mean, they different crypto companies, and I'm sure Andreessen Horowitz had something to do with it, whether they funded it again themselves or they helped other companies pour money into it. Even though the funding came back to try to make up for what was lost, Axie Infinity never returned. But again, this stuff was pushed on people. This game that became sort of like an indentured servitude where people have to take out loans and work off the loans to afford the NFT characters so they can even play the games. I mean, just a bizarre sort of space we're looking at. And here's another player from back in the same time period where you just wrote this book on Google Glass, and here he is, was a major player in that too.
Yeah, man, would it surprise you to know that Andreessen has raised $7 billion in crypto investments to lobby politicians to weaken or just get favorable regulation of crypto?
Oh, is he? I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
it does surprise me because I mean, no, it doesn't. But I was not expecting Andreessen Horowitz to come up in that conversation on this episode. What do we got here? I'm looking at this piece. Are you is this from a Forbes piece that you saw?
Yep. Hmm.
By David
Just 2 days ago. Yeah.
Jeans. Yeah. Oh, I have to maybe reach out to them and see if I could speak with. And Sarah Emerson was on this too. They raised $7 billion. They held a fundraiser for a New York congressman. Which New York congressman? Oh, Richie Torres, the Bronx.
Yeah.
He's been out there promoting crypto. Oh my
Shocking.
God. Yeah, again, another shocking update to bring to all of you listening right now. But still, it's like, this is who is this helping? Like who? No one. I mean, Andreessen Horowitz, the VCs at that firm, making hand over fist. Marc Andreessen. How much was that home he just bought recently? It was $177 million estate.
Oh, I just got a stomach ache.
Oh, I'm sorry. The story was after buying $177 million estate, Marc Andreessen adds, this is the latest one, Marc Andreessen adds a $44 million Malibu house.
Ugh.
Because this is what happens for people who don't get it. Now, maybe the play with Google Glass wasn't that good. I mean, I'm sure Andreessen Horowitz was promoting Google Glass because I'm sure they have some sort of funding into Google and make money off of Google shares or something. But the money they make off of crypto is leaps and bounds better, because what they do is when they invest, and this is different for every one of these companies, so this is just a generalization, but this is the gist of what happens. They invest, and when these crypto companies, whether it be, a Web3 network like a Helium, or some Web3 game, or some Web3 marketplace for NFTs or some other bullshit, what they do is when it comes time to mint tokens, who already gets to claim some ridiculous supply? I don't know what it is, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I've seen in some cases, these crypto companies mint tokens and give away 80% of the tokens to investors off the bat, which immediately means that, hey, you 20% of retail investors, who do you think the 80% of VCs are going to fucking dump on? It's you. And guess who's going to know when the perfect time to sell is? It's not going to be you. It's going to be the VC investors who know the internals of the companies. But yeah, they get handed a ridiculous percentage of the tokens when they get minted, and then these guys make tons of money when they sell.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. just line their pockets. Don't even really have to do much besides just sell. It's a pump and dump, basically.
Why was, for Google Glass, what was the major sort of, obviously I know why Google was promoting it and various other, we'll get to the tech media in a second. But, what was the reasoning for a Marc Andreessen to be promoting Google Glass?
For him, he could invent, he could fund apps, softwares that would make a lot of money on the platform. If this was going to be the next phone, there's endless apps that could be invented that he would, have his fingers in the wallet of when they made a ton of money. Right. Maps, directions, YouTube video players, so just anything that they invested in people to develop software for it.
Right.
But that was kind of Google Glass's downfall, was that there wasn't any utility to it. There was no main thing that made anyone's lives easier. They were trying to solve a problem that didn't exist for people, and that's why no one bought in, because they're like, why? It's like I'm looking down my phone is perfectly easy. Like, how much easier is it to like wear this thing on my face all day that looks kind of dumb?
Yeah.
And yeah, they failed to like have any like one single good utility that got people to like give up their phones and buy into this. So
Right.
didn't really do a great job of developing great apps.
Right. And we should mention, like, one of the let's talk about the tech outlets now, because if Marc Andreessen was one of the faces that sort of connected Google Glass to a not cool product, there's another tech journalists. A lot of them really bought into this tech media, especially mainstream tech media, and unfortunately, the ones that were critical, like Gawker, had like Valleywag at the time too, which was their like sister tech startup blog that really knocked the startup world really hard and well deserved, I should say. They no longer around, I guess, to do this with crypto because, of course, Peter Thiel, a big Bitcoin guy, we should add. We all know the story there with Hulk Hogan helping, Peter Thiel helping Hulk Hogan take Gawker down. But with the tech media that promoted it, I always remember this one journalist, and I'm sure he's got to be all over the history of Google Glass. I mean, I know he's mentioned in your book specifically, and that's Robert Scoble.
I knew that was coming. Yeah, he was infamous for taking a shower wearing Google Glass and saying, "I wear these anywhere," and everyone just immediately jumped on it because it's so goofy and it's so emblematic of just this sort of like evangelism that these tech, basically PR, essentially doing PR for Glass, because he also owned a company that was developing for Glass. So if Glass succeeded, he would also succeed. So of course he was touting it and saying it was the next big thing and it's great. Yeah, he was over there. The shower pic did not go over well. Was even noticed by Google brass, and not they weren't super thrilled about it and how viral it went either. So
I mean, I will say Google's got more, I guess, self-awareness than a lot of crypto companies and executives if they weren't happy with that pick. But I mean, I guess Robert Scoble was fine with. Maybe Google wasn't happy because, based on this is speculation, the data they were able to pull up from those things, it means they probably saw Robert Scoble's dick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, this sort of is like this again, like. It's like deja vu with the crypto evangelists just being so over the top and like almost like televangelists the way they promote this stuff. It's real. And Robert Scoble sort of disappeared off the face of the planet. You want to remind us what happened there? I don't even recall.
There were some sexual harassment accusations against him and his former employees. So yeah, he kind of quieted down after those came out. Much like a lot of the high tech names at the time, just happened to have more sexual harassment claims against them, which not great.
Right. I mean, it's really stunning how. I'm going to say we here, even though this doesn't, mean you and me, but I'm going to say we because the people who see through this really early on are few and far between. So we really do create this terrible, horrible, vicious cycle where we just let these mega corporations, these uber wealthy tech executives and CEOs and founders, we really let them just sell us a bunch of garbage. every now and then, and we believe in the hype simply because, I don't know, because they've had one success before, but as if like that makes them like the all-knowing soothsayer. Like, if anything, we should know better by now. And let's look at Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, excuse me. I mean, Facebook, for all of its problems, huge success, the biggest social network in history. Billions of users, used all over the world. Everyone knows Facebook. You could even chalk up Instagram as a good purchase. Same with WhatsApp, good purchase, I guess. Again, not their own original idea, not their creation, but they bought at the right time, and huge apps they own. But going back to the drawing board for them, whenever they try to recreate Facebook's success on their own, they have not been able to do so because guess what? Mark Zuckerberg, just like Larry Page and just like Jack Dorsey, just like Elon Musk, just like Marc Andreessen, just like, I don't know, all of these guys. They happen to just get lucky, be in the right place at the right time with a decent to good idea. And that's where it takes off. But that doesn't mean there's some sort of futuristic, what is the term? Futurist, right? A futurist Nostradamus. Because none of them have been able to strike gold twice.
No, and like with it's interesting. I mean, I feel bad just touting the book all the time, but there's just shadows of so much stuff that's happening now. Like with
that's what
Facebook.
That's what you're here to do. So please tout away. Go ahead.
That's true. Like with Glass, eventually Google investors were eventually like, hey, why are you guys spending so much money on this thing that's like obviously failing? Like this is our money that you're pouring into these like weird projects that aren't going anywhere. And the same thing's happening with Facebook right now. They're kind of like, the money comes from Facebook, the platform, but your CEO and like a lot of money is being poured into the metaverse. Like, why are you doing this right now? And then in the book, I kind of connected to Google eventually reshuffling their company under Alphabet, because Google was just pouring so much money into these other things, and they wanted to separate Google Search from Google Cloud services and their products and stuff. And Facebook becoming Meta is kind of a similar move. Them wanting to they just want more, and Mark Zuckerberg. He loves Julius Caesar. He like matches this little haircut to him, and that's just why he won't hear otherwise, because he wants the metaverse, because he wants to own everything, wants to monetize everything that we're around.
Hey, crypto. They tried with their own crypto Libra. And they weren't able to.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, you forgot about that, didn't you? A lot of people have. They sold it off because to them it wasn't worth They invested all this money in it, and then found out that, oh wow, the world's largest social network in human history would be facing more, legal hurdles and ramifications than, I guess, some small startup company trying to do the same. And they found out that they had to very quickly get into legit financial services and deal with legitimate financial regulations that like major financial institutions have to abide by. And that's a lot of work. That's a lot more work than any of the tech regulations that, those barely exist, but way more work than that. So they decided to tap out and sell off. But interesting you bring up the metaverse, because I think that's a perfect way to sort of, I guess, sort of get to next. Insider had a story from Samantha DeLuya. Meta has burned $15 billion trying to build the metaverse. and nobody's saying exactly where the money went. I mean, they couldn't even do legs. They couldn't even do legs. When they were promoting their what is their metaverse world called again? Like Horizon or something like that. Their characters don't have legs. They're floating bodies from the waist up. And people are like, this looks ridiculous. And so they put out a tweet, legs coming to the metaverse. And there was a video of the avatars with legs. And then it leaked. That was just computer captured like a video that was created. That wasn't actually programmed into the actual virtual world itself. Incredible.
Legs coming soon. For 45 Libra, you can have legs.
Maybe they'll institute some sort of AR glasses, I guess. But it does feel like Google Glass sort of ushered in this idea of there's going to be some sort of wearable headpiece. Because we've seen, as Facebook tries to define virtual worlds as the metaverse, and again, the media goes ahead and buys into it and starts calling virtual worlds metaverses, a metaverse, as if, Second Life and World of Warcraft and The Sims and, Roblox and Minecraft didn't exist before this. Open virtual worlds where you can buy, sell, create, do whatever the hell you please. Like this didn't exist for decades before. Media buys into the hype, starts calling it metaverse. Everything in this world's metaverse. And there are a number of decentralized, sort of blockchain-oriented crypto metaverses. And one such company is Decentraland. And it recently came out. Now, a app store that tracks NFT transactions, DappRadar, claimed that they looked into it and Decentraland only has 38 daily users. Excuse me, don't want to forget that extra 8. 38 daily users on its platform. Now, let me read this headline from Kotaku by Sissy Jiang. $1.2 billion metaverse company, that's Decentraland, boasts it has a whopping 8,000 daily users. So, to put this into perspective, Decentraland is this metaverse crypto Frankenstein that is worth $1.2 billion market valuation, based on fundraising rounds and stuff. Comes out through a third-party data tracking company. They only have 38 active users a day. And then they come out and refute that, saying they have 8,000 daily users a day. Excuse you. $1.2 billion. There are like online message boards and forums run by like high school students where they shit post about cartoons and shit and anime and who knows what else and sports and football and whatever and gossip or whatever that have, I can tell you, probably 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times the amount of daily users as Decentraland does.
So how does it get valued at 1.8 billion?
1.2 billion. Excuse you. Don't want to give them the extra $600,000. Excuse me. $600 million.
Oh
excuse me. It's based on their token, the Decentraland token, which is mana. How is that
interesting
dispersed?
How that works.
How is that dispersed? That's going to be the question. Maybe not something I could let's see. I don't see it off the top of my head. This is something to look into for a future episode. I plan on doing a future episode on Decentraland. So
Should do it in Decentraland.
Ooh, yeah, maybe we should
We'll,
save that.
we'll double their daily users.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this whole thing happens in cycles, but the difference is, you know, Google, I guess, saw the writing on the wall and killed Glass like they've killed many other of their products over the years. Google Plus, Google Wave,
Wave, yep.
Google Reader, the rare instance where they killed off a good product. But crypto, that's I guess what they're gonna say. That's how I guess they could spin this. That's the good thing about crypto for them. It's decentralized, so there's no central organization that could say this is a bad idea and we need to kill it before it gets out of hand and just costs us money. One of the wonderful things about decentralization is that a bad idea can continue to perpetuate on and on and on and on and continue to cost everybody money as it continues to roll on and on and on. The only difference here, I guess, is the people who are losing out aren't the big tech corporations who are backing the failed product or service. It's people like you, me, and the people who listen to this show, Scam Economy Right Now, the retail investors, the everyday average Joe and Janes, because in the crypto world, the tech VCs seem to be raking in the cash as they just, leave everybody else holding the back.
That's right. And, I make this point at the end of my book to show my book one more time.
Go ahead.
Like Google, the media atmosphere now is a lot less diverse than it used to be. Gawker, we talked about this before, but like Gawker, so many websites just don't exist anymore. Speaking as someone whose website I used to write for is gone.
Oh, right. Oh, you came on the show literally the first time, like what, the day after it was the night before it was announced. It was Mel Magazine, right?
Yep.
That was a good publication. That's too bad they, that's how it works, right? The publications that actually let their journalists go forth and actually create good, original reporting and pieces, don't obviously monetize as well as the tech publications or even mainstream publications in general that we spoke of earlier, that just regurgitate PR pitches they receive from tech companies that boast about breaking new technology that's going to change the face of how we live, and that ends up going bust in a year or so.
Yeah. So there's just much less good reporting, much less critics with kind of larger platforms. And the point I kind of made was, back then, kind of in a way, consumers were loud enough and relentless enough to be like, no, Google Glass sucks. This sucks. No one's going to buy it. And they didn't. And they stopped its rollout. They moved it to enterprise, just made manufacturing employees wear it to be more efficient, which is also kind of a dystopian nightmare in itself. But the point I guess I'm trying to make is we shouldn't stop shitting on crypto and like we shouldn't just like dunking on it and saying it's bad and pointing out the people who get ripped off, because there aren't a lot of people, especially in larger platforms, saying it. So until they get a hold or until they start saying it more, it's just got to be the people who like us and listeners of this show to keep saying it and keep saying it loud.
Wow, I completely agree, and thank you. It's very nice of you to frame it in that way. I really appreciate it. Quinn Myers, freelance writer and author of the book Remember the Internet, Google Glass. Everyone should definitely check out, read the book, because it's really stunning. When I was just, looking through it, and recalling, because I was following the Google Glass saga back in those days. It was like 2012 was like the main
Yep.
2012, 2013 was like the main years
Yeah.
of Google Glass. I remember, and it was really bringing back some of these things that I, totally forgot about or were storing in the back of my brain. And it was just stunning how prescient it was for what we're seeing today, especially with crypto. The parallels that we're seeing, how the media gets suckered into text framing of these things, the foreshadowing of how the tech world evangelizes this stuff, the VCs and how they do it to basically fill their own wallets. Just the whole story is so reminiscent of what we're going through with crypto. And again, there are differences, which we mentioned, but couldn't help but thinking of those similarities. Quinn, where can people find the book online? Where, is there a, tell people where, go ahead. Where they people find the book? Any links you want to promote? Your own, social media profiles. Where the floor is yours. An upcoming piece, whatever. Take as much time as you'd like. Name drop as much stuff as you'd like. Go ahead.
Oh, please, you flatter me. You can go to just Instar Books to buy the book. It's INSTARBOOKS. Instar Books. You can get that book. You can check out the other Remember the Internet series. Anna Valens wrote about Tumblr porn, and Megan Milks wrote about Tori Amos bootleg web ring. Both of them are hilarious. There's a fourth book coming out soon. And you can follow me on Twitter at QUINMYERS.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Awesome. Always a pleasure to talk with you. Looking forward to having you on again in the future.
Let's do it. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Scam Economy. And I got to tell you, some of these upcoming episodes and the specific crypto scams and the specific Web3 companies we dive into, a lot of this year is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. So be sure to tune in. And the best way to do that is to go to scameconomy.com, where you can find all the links to the podcast version of this show. And while you're at your podcast platform of choice, be sure to leave a review, whether that's on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. And of course, the best way to keep up to date with what's going on with Scam Economy is really to follow me on Twitter at Matt Binder and to follow the show on Twitter as well at Scam Economy. And of course, this show is not possible without the supporters who contribute to this show monetarily. And some people choose to do this by going to patreon.com/MattBinder and signing up for an automatic monthly subscription, suggested $5, but you give more, you give less. You can also support this show by going to youtube.com/MattBinder. And while you're there, subscribing, of course, you could also go catch the live video premiere and video replays of every Scam Economy episode there too. But also, if you catch the live premiere, you can drop a paid super chat in the live chat or a paid super thanks in the replay comments. And if you can't afford to do either, I completely understand. But if you are subscribed to Amazon Prime, you can connect your Amazon Prime account to Twitch and go to twitch.tv/MattBinder. And of course, follow me there. The following on Twitch is free. But then you could also use your free monthly Twitch Prime subscription that's given to you along with your Amazon Prime and paid subscription and subscribe to my channel with that. So let me get this straight here, Matt. You mean to tell me I get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month with my paid Amazon Prime subscription, which means at no extra cost to me, I can extract a little bit of money from Amazon and give it to you? Yes, you can. So what are you waiting for? Go to twitch.tv/MattBinder and do that now. And of course, check out my other show, Doomed with Matt Binder. You could find the podcast version of that show at doomedcast.com, and you could find the video and live stream version of the show at those same YouTube and Twitch channels, youtube.com/MattBinder and twitch.tv/MattBinder. So folks, with all that said, I will see you all next time on the scam economy.